not four, three. There are three food groups, let's say, that I knew I needed to change. Hey you, it's Dana McNeill, Call Coach Dana, and what is your diet plan? You know, I'm asked frequently, are you vegan, vegetarian? Do you follow more of a Mediterranean diet? Do you follow paleo? You know, are you more of a keto girl? So let me just start with none of the above. I believe in following a few basic rules. I want to get as much nutrition into me and my clients as possible. And I want to meet my specific needs and your specific needs. So that takes a little bit of conversation and looking at symptoms, diagnoses, and preferences. So let me just start with a few rules that I learned a long time ago from Dr. Daniel Pompa through Cellular Healing. And I totally believe that he is on the mark because I followed basically his guidelines and got 100% better. And I know that when I go right back to those simple rules, it makes all the difference in the world. So I'm going to share those with you now. First of all, if your food is not created by God, don't eat it. And if man has altered it, even if it is created by God, but man has changed it, leave it alone. And to know that food is not your God. You know, don't worship food. You've probably heard the cliche, eat to live, not live to eat. And that doesn't mean we can't enjoy our food. I love food. I enjoy food. But I cannot let it rule me. All right, so then there are, not four, three. There are three food groups, let's say, that I knew I needed to change. And these are basically where I start with every client as well. And that is change out your fats. So there are good fats and there are bad fats. Let me talk a little bit about both of those. Your bad fats are your hydrogenated trans fats, rancid vegetable oils, and these are linked to cancer and chronic fatigue and neurotoxic syndrome. So we don't want those bad fats in our system, right? Not even in small amounts. And then our good fats, we need those. So we have been taught all fats are equal. All fats are bad. Not true. So your good fats are needed for hormone production, cancer prevention, brain development, weight loss, yes, and cellular healing and anti-inflammation. So those good fats are important, but they come in moderation, okay? So we need to pay attention to moderation as well. And then we need to change out our meats. Meat, whether you're a meat eater or not a meat eater, and we're going to talk about that as well. If you're not a meat eater, you certainly can get your protein elsewhere. If you are a meat eater, however, as I am, and I probably eat less meat today than I ever have, but the meats that I do consume, I make sure that I know what the meat I'm eating has been eating. Does that make sense? So if the cow or beef that I'm eating has been, contained in a stall being fed corn and grain all day and pumped full of hormones, I don't want that in my system. I want to eat beef that is, pasturing out in fields of grass and eating the things that God provided for them to eat. And organic is even always better. So even our fish, seafood, think about your bottom dwellers, what they're eating. They're eating waste from other animals or other sea creatures. or the fish, seafood that I choose is always going to be salmon or even tuna. I prefer salmon always, but you want that to even be wild caught salmon, not farm raised salmon, okay? So a lot of the fish and seafood that we eat have been raised in tanks by farmers and fed things that aren't natural to its environment. So those are just a few rules. So when we function or when we design our nutrition plan, is what I like to call it rather than a diet, then taking into consideration those rules and guidelines, everything can fall into place very easily. So I will design a nutrition guideline or nutrition plan for you, and just like I do for myself and some of my family that listen to me. We can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink. And so let me just tell you, some of my family members have been a hard sell on really doing everything needed, and friends as well. And you may be one too, that you're like, I'm a hard sell, and I'm not giving up my sun drop. And I'm not giving up my this or that, or I'm not giving up my desserts, or I'm not giving up this. So food is very emotional. And I remember, and I'm going to end with this, that, several years ago, almost a couple decades ago, I sat down with a holistic nutritionist who really taught me some of these things that I have used and passed along for years. And I remember sitting there crying, just broken, like, oh, I can never eat this or that again. I mean, it was horrible because I realized how emotionally connected I had been to food. And maybe that's you too. Probably it is. Food, we smell a food cooking, it reminds us of this or that, or we taste something and we're like, oh yes, it just takes us back to a place, and we have such a connection with food. So we're going to address those things as well, because mindset and, our surroundings and all of our memory, everything about food is important for us to look at. But food is not the only thing I'm going to be talking about as a coach. I'm not caught up just in food, a lot of things. So whether it be mindset, exercise, hydration, rest, sleep, de-stress, all of those things are so vital. But I always start with nutrition, because that seems to be the place that makes the most difference, or the place that people are having the most hiccups. So let's move on, and I'll see you on the next video that I'm going to do, where I will talk about fat in particular, good and bad fats, how to choose the fats that you're consuming, and how to cook with good fats versus bad fats. So anyway, all of that is coming up, and I hope to see you there. See you next time.